who gave you your Christian faith? Of course, for many of us, it was our parents by virtue of baptism. Now, over the Easter celebrations, there were about 12 people who became Catholics as adults. And I really marvel at that because they were never brought up in the faith, in the Catholic faith as young people, but somehow as adults they were touched in some way. And I think it's a real marvel that still people make an active choice in life, especially later on in life, to say, yes, Lord, I believe in you. And it's a response to the gift of faith, to believe that God is three and God is one, and that God wants to make us one in Him and He in us. Now that's a profound mystery. And so there's always going to be that tension, I'm sure, for many of us who have, even Catholics formerly, who've left the faith. They said this is a bunch of nonsense. This notion that the spiritual world still has an impact on the physical world. Many people are now atheists or even agnostics, saying God does not exist, or I don't know that God exists. And thanks be to God that there have been people who've witnessed to this call to truth, is that science and faith are two wings of the same, of this call to know what is truth. And so Justin Martyr is one of these individuals. And he died in about the year 150. And Justin the Martyr, as the word indicates for us, is that he witnessed to the faith to the point of shedding his blood. Now he came by faith through the intellect. Is that he was a great philosopher, but said, you know, the philosophies that were going around don't address the deepest yearnings of my heart. I can articulate things, but I don't know things fully. And so it wasn't until he encountered Christianity that he said, this is the truth. So for him to encounter God through the intellect is one of great marvels nowadays, that it is still possible for people to actually find true meaning in the world in terms of seeking the truth through our own intellect. And so for him, his life was ultimately converted. But it wasn't just a personal faith, it became public. And so I think another thing that Justin Martyr teaches us is that this world does matter, is that we just can't hold this faith into ourselves, but it has an impact on the world. And so much so that this God is not just the God of the Bible, but a God of history, and that God became one of us. The incarnation transforms everything. And so you want to share that with others. And so there are two documents that have been attributed to St. Justin the Martyr. One of them is called the Apologia, which means making a presentation of the faith, to answer common questions that people have. And so he was interrogated by virtue of his newfound Christian faith. And so how we have the celebration of the Mass is the earliest recounting of that, as well as the baptism ritual. And so when he was tested in his faith, he made an apologia. He made a proclamation of faith. And he said that's very important because it's the preamble to encounter Christ, is that there have to be martyrs, or what the word actually means in Greek, witnesses, to say, hey, here is my faith. And as we heard for the 6th Sunday of Easter, 1 Peter chapter 3, Peter says, you know, give a testament to the love and faith that you have, that people need to encounter, but do so ultimately with great respect and gentleness. And even Romans chapter 10, in which Paul speaks about the importance of sharing this faith. He says, how can people call on the Lord if they've not believed? And how can they believe in the Lord if there's no one who has preached it? And how can anyone preach unless they know the Lord? And so it's very much for us to bear witness to this. And so to see in Justin Martyr, yeah, it is possible to rationalize the faith, to come to encounter Christ through our intellect, and also to say, hey, that this world does matter, that Christ became one of us, and so the world is transformed as a result. And so let's look to St. Justin to be the inspiration for us to share this faith with others. That when we have encountered this God of history through the Scriptures, and even that Jesus truly becomes one of us through the Eucharist, is profound. And if people realize this remarkable miracle that we experience almost on a daily basis, the world will be transformed. But we need to be the witnesses of that. And so who gave you faith? And so we have to appreciate that someone shared the faith with us to the point of accepting Christ in faith and in baptism. And so we may be the ones now who must share the faith with others. And so again, let's ask the intercession of St. Justin the Martyr to give us the courage to share this faith and to acknowledge to people, hey, that this faith does matter, that this faith will give us great joy and eternal happiness.